The first whispers came late in the night. Carried across private forums and whispered in fan chatrooms, Yu Menglong, the golden boy of Chinese entertainment, had fallen. The news was unbelievable, almost absurd. Only months earlier, audiences had watched him sing beneath dazzling studio lights. His voice smooth and ethereal. His smile that of a man seemingly untouchable by darkness. Yet now, he was gone. And the curtain of silence that dropped around his death only deepened the mystery. On September 11th, Yu Menglong's body was discovered outside a luxury apartment building in Shanghai. Official statements were terse. Shanghai Municipal Public Security Bureau announced that the 37-year-old star had fallen from the 6th floor after a night of heavy drinking. No signs of foul play were detected. The statement insisted. Within days, his mother released an open letter to fans via the Weibo account of his longtime agency, Aurora Entertainment. In her trembling words, she begged the public to stop speculating, to respect the police's findings, and to let her son rest. I hope to carry on with his memory quietly, she wrote. That is what he would have wanted. But grief breeds suspicion, and silence feeds rumor. Fans could not believe the official story. How could someone so disciplined, so beloved, simply stumble to his death? Why were there whispers of arguments with management in the weeks leading up to the tragedy? Why did industry insiders, usually eager to rush to social media with condolences, strangely muted? The answers began to surface in fragments, leaked testimonies, intercepted documents, whispers from those who had seen too much and stayed quiet for too long. What emerged was not a tale of drunken misfortune, but of systematic manipulation, psychological torment, and corporate cruelty. According to these leaks, the man who might not have physically pushed Yu Menglong to his death nonetheless engineered the conditions that made such a fall inevitable. His name, Liang Chen, a former executive at Aurora Entertainment. Perhaps the most dangerous kind of killer, not one who strikes in the open, but one who destroys from the shadows. The first leak came from what was described as a supplementary interrogation transcript from the Shanghai police, dated July 2025. A fragment, smuggled out and distributed anonymously, claimed to capture Liang Chen's own words. Yes, I gave him pills. I told him they were to help him perform. He resisted at first, but I reminded him that refusing would cost him everything. I had the means to bury him, and he knew it. The chilling confession spread across encrypted chatrooms before bursting onto mainstream social media, where it ignited a firestorm. Fans who had idolized Menglong for over a decade flooded Weibo and Douyin with furious posts. Hashtags like Justice for Menglong and Aurora Exposed trended within hours. Outside Aurora Entertainment's sleek headquarters in Shanghai's financial district, small groups of protesters gathered, holding candles and posters. Some bore Menglong's smiling face, others carried blunt accusations. You killed him. To understand the depth of the betrayal, one must trace the arc of Yu Menglong's life. Born in 1988 in the far western city of Urumqi, he grew up with music coursing through his veins. By his late teens, he was already performing in local competitions, his delicate looks and soulful voice setting him apart. In 2007, he captured national attention through a televised talent show, finishing among the finalists and earning a devoted fan base. His first true breakthrough came in 2015, when his ballad Come Home for the New Year struck a chord with millions, becoming an anthem for reunion and nostalgia. That same year, Menglong transitioned into acting with the runaway hit drama The Prince's Promotion. Overnight, he became a household name. Androgynous beauty and subtle acting style made him a favorite in costume epics like 10 Miles of Blossoms and Eternal Galaxy. By the early 2020s, carved out a reputation as one of the most bankable stars in Chinese entertainment. But fame, especially in an industry as cutthroat as China's, comes at a price. Behind the soft smile and elegant costumes lay grueling work schedules, contracts written in blood, and constant scrutiny. Insiders now claim that Menglong had grown increasingly resistant to Aurora Entertainment's demands. He reportedly balked at staged publicity stunts, including fabricated romances with fellow actors and forced endorsements of products he did not believe in. To Aurora, such resistance was not only inconvenient but dangerous. It was here that Liang Chen entered the picture. Once a rising star within Aurora's management team, Liang had a reputation for ruthlessness. He believed in absolute control, seeing artists not as people but as assets to be squeezed for maximum profit. His clashes with Menglong were inevitable. According to leaked statements from anonymous staffers, Liang took Menglong's refusal as a personal insult. "Wanted to break him," said one insider. If Menglong wouldn't play the game, Liang was going to show everyone what happens when you resist. The tactics were insidious. It began, reportedly, with supplements. Liang provided pills, marketed as harmless enhancers to combat fatigue during long shoots. In reality, they contained stimulants, designed to keep Menglong wired and dependent. Soon came the rumors, articles planted in gossip columns suggesting that the actor had evil-like behavior, that he had mistreated staff, that he had engaged in secret affairs. Each denial from Menglong only seemed to bring fresh waves of slander. By early 2025, the pressure had intensified. Menglong was said to be battling insomnia, wings, and paranoia. Friends claimed he had grown withdrawn, speaking less on set. His bright laughter now replaced by a haunted silence, in what has since become a haunting document. Fragments of his private diary, allegedly obtained by police and leaked online, capture his despair. "They want me to confess to sins I never committed. If I refuse, they threaten to erase me. I feel like a ghost walking through my own life." The weight of these revelations turned public grief into outrage. Why, fans demanded, Aurora Entertainment remained silent? Why had Liang Chen, named explicitly in multiple leaks, faced justice? And perhaps most disturbingly, if the police possessed these testimonies, why had they continued to describe the death as accidental? National media picked up the story, framing it as part of a broader conversation about exploitation in East Asian entertainment industries. Editorials in Japan and South Korea drew parallels to their own scandals, where young talents had been destroyed by toxic management practices. Western outlets described it as a cautionary tale of unchecked corporate power and the fragility of celebrity. Aurora Entertainment issued a brief press release, announcing the leaks as fabricated slander. Yet their refusal to engage further only deepened suspicion. Chen himself vanished from public view. His phone disconnected. His social media accounts deleted. He in hiding? Protected? Or had he been quietly removed from the stage, just as he had removed Menglong? Weeks passed. The grief-stricken public began to coalesce around a single narrative. Menglong may have fallen from a balcony, but the true push came long before. It came from an industry that treats its stars as disposable, from a management system that rewards cruelty. Men like Liang Chen who believe control is worth more than human life. The candles outside Aurora's offices continue to burn. Fans write messages on slips of paper, them under bouquets of lilies. 1. Scrawled in shaky handwriting, reads simply, "They killed you with pressure, not with hands." And as the first part of this investigation concludes, one thing is certain, the name Menglong will not fade quietly. His death has become more than a tragedy. It has become a rallying cry, a demand for accountability in an industry built on silence. The story does not end here. In Part 2, we will dive deeper into Aurora Entertainment itself, exposing the contracts, the manipulation, and the culture of fear that may have made them the true killer behind the curtain. The anger did not subside after the first leaks. If anything, the fury only sharpened, transforming from grief into a determined hunt for accountability. No longer asked whether Menglong had simply fallen, they demanded to know who pushed him over the edge. And all signs, in their eyes, toward Aurora Entertainment. Aurora had shaped Menglong's career, sculpting him from a provincial dreamer into a national icon. But with each revelation, it seemed clear that the very company entrusted with his future had also sown the seeds of his destruction. The leaked testimonies from police interrogations, diary fragments, the anonymous staff confessions, together did Aurora not as a nurturing guardian, but as a gilded prison. Rumors about the agency's shadow contracts resurfaced. Former artists, speaking under conditions of anonymity, described agreements that locked them into grueling schedules, penalties so severe that withdrawal was financially ruinous. Aurora, it seemed, thrived on dependency. Created stars, yes, but in doing so they created ownership, total, suffocating ownership. Within this environment, Liang Chen's role came into sharper focus. To insiders, Liang had been Aurora's enforcer, the man who ensured compliance when charm failed. He wielded fear like a scalpel. Menglong resisted certain endorsements, cheap alcohol brands, questionable cosmetic products. Liang allegedly reminded him of his contractual obligations. Refusal, Liang warned, would mean blacklisting. In China's entertainment ecosystem, where agencies hold sway over casting directors, sponsors, and even television producers, such a threat was a death sentence. The leaked police transcript went further. One particularly damning passage. Liang admitted to staging scandals. We planted stories of arrogance, of late arrivals on set, secret affair with a married actress. The goal was not to ruin him completely, only to frighten him, to show him that without us, he was nothing. These words, if genuine, exposed the cruel logic behind the manipulation. It was not enough to profit from Menglong. Aurora had to break him into obedience. The psychological toll was immense. Colleagues recalled how Menglong's once bright demeanor dimmed in the months before his death, on the set of his final drama. For Chronicles, crew members whispered that he often stared into the distance between takes, script trembling in his hands. One assistant recalled, he was polite as always, but there was a heaviness in his eyes, like he was carrying a mountain. By the summer of 2025, Menglong was said to be near collapse. Anonymous testimonies from fellow actors suggest that he confided in them about being trapped. He feared that leaving Aurora would not only end his career but also bring harm to his family. He was convinced that the agency had the power to erase his reputation entirely, turning fans into enemies with a single orchestrated scandal. Stimulants Liang provided only worsened the spiral. Yana's occasional performance boosters reportedly became a dependency. Menglong, desperate to meet endless demands, the pills even as he suspected their harm. Medical leaks suggest traces of unregulated amphetamine compounds were found in his system during routine health checks. Though such records were never made public, public outrage intensified when these details surfaced. Fans accused Aurora of not merely neglect but active exploitation. Social media burned with fury. They killed him with contracts and pills, read one viral post. Liang Chen was just the hand, they were the machine. As attempts at damage control fell flat. Carefully worded statement, denouncing the leaks as fictional narratives designed to slander our reputation, was drowned out by the sheer volume of online protest. Outside China, international human rights groups began to take notice. Menglong's case is symptomatic of systemic abuse in the entertainment industry. And yet, within China, official media coverage remained muted. Government line adhered to the original police conclusion, accidental death, no foul play. But whispers suggested that the secondary inquiry, launched into Aurora's practices, had unearthed troubling patterns. Contracts that skirted labor laws, payments hidden through shell companies, and, most damningly, an internal culture that rewarded coercion. Former Aurora employee, who fled the country and spoke to journalists under the pseudonym Jin, described the atmosphere. We were told that control was everything. If an artist resisted, we applied pressure. They still resisted, we created rumors. Compliance was non-negotiable. Message was clear, you are not a person. You are a product. Eyes of many fans. This was the true cause of Menglong's death. Liang Chen may have supplied the pills, spread the rumors, spread the threats. But Aurora Entertainment provided the system. Machinery that ground down individuality and demanded submission. In this view, Aurora was not just complicit, it was the indirect killer. The fury reached a boiling point during Menglong's memorial. Thousands of fans gathered, lighting candles and singing his songs. Amid the tears, chants rose, justice for Menglong. Down with Aurora. Videos of the vigil went viral, watched by millions. Side of young fans, faces streaked with tears, demanding justice for their idol became a symbol of collective defiance. Meanwhile, Liang Chen's whereabouts remained unknown. Some claimed he had fled overseas. Others whispered he had been quietly detained, shielded from public trial to protect the agency's reputation. No official confirmation came. His silence only deepened the sense of unfinished justice. As the weeks stretched into months, the story of Menglong evolved from personal tragedy into cultural reckoning. Commentators asked uncomfortable questions. How many other stars suffered in silence under similar pressures? How many scandals had been fabricated? How many breakdowns engineered? Many careers destroyed behind the glittering facade of the entertainment world. The conclusion, for many, was unavoidable. Menglong had not simply fallen. He had been pushed, not by a pair of hands. System of control, exploitation, and fear. The true killer wore no mask, carried no weapon. It was Aurora Entertainment. See that turned dreams into nightmares. And so, as the candles outside Aurora's offices continue to burn, the final epitaph for Yu Minglin is written not only in grief but in fury. The killer's name is known. The true murderer is the machine that fed him. Until that machine is dismantled, there will be more Yu Minglins.